And look who we have here.
Effervescence has landed, Mr. Cam. God bless the mighty NRA. Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear us out there? See those people, see the buoyancy, see the effervescent glow of insisting on freedom. This isn't just an NRA party. This is officially the Ted Nugent party. These are the people that I hang with and celebrate self-evident truth and logic and common sense. And if I may, Cam and company, you gentlemen are doing God's work. I bring you a thank you and a salute and a hallelujah. And I mean this. In my gregarious traveling, people always bring up, no matter where I am, under what circumstances, no matter what geographical or political zone I may be traversing, people come up to me and it's always about the NRA and how important it is and the important work that you guys are doing. You know, it's one thing to stand up for what you believe in, but you have perfected, the evasive P word, you have perfected the celebration and promotion of the self-evident truth that is the guiding force for true independence, true quality of life, where the king doesn't get to have the arms and the peons have to grovel. So I bring you a big thank you from everybody, because with Cam and company, what you do, NRA News, what you do on Sportsman's Channel, hallelujah. Thank you, Cam. Wow. Thank you, all you guys.
Thank you, Ted. And listen, and right back at you, I mean, you are the man. You have been living this your entire life. You are a walking testament to the power of freedom and to the passion that you bring. Again, you talk about self-evident truth. You are a walking self-evident truth. You know that.
And that's because it's not my self-evident truth. Even though it is mine, I have my right to keep and bear arms. God didn't give, you know, random individual freedoms. He gave them individual freedoms, and it's all mine, but it's all of ours. And you can't. I get up every day, Cam, and Mayor Bloomberg gets like stomach pains just knowing I'm somewhere. And everything I do every day in my life, when I get up in the morning, I hunt every day. During the deer season, the Texas deer season is 6 months long, and there's always varmints and exotics and hogs everywhere. By the way, I want to announce, I think I said this last time, but it's become so undeniably clear, and you're talking about self-evident truth. I've talked to some guys here at the NRA Convention, as people will randomly just come up in unsolicited testimony, tell me how they have coyote problems. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm here to once again celebrate that the coyotes around our home have a Ted problem. And we don't have a coyote problem. We don't have a hog problem. And in Texas, we sure as hell don't have a freedom problem. Because what you're talking about is that and a lot of people wonder, well, why would I do this? Why would the guitar player bother doing this? Shouldn't he just play guitar? And shouldn't he just go hunting? No, because I'm a We the People guy. And I was the first guy, I really believe this. In 1966 or 1967, when there became this underground FM radio, I was absolutely sucker punched by drooling maggot punk hippie dopers attacking me and literally on radio programs condemning me for being a gun guy and a venison guy. And of course, guns are perfect, venison is perfect, so I must be doing God's work even in my wango tango days. My point is that I witnessed and responded immediately to what developed into the culture war, which has now metastasized into this just demonic beast of government out of control and the corruption and this lie that somehow there's a segment of our fellow Americans. I would expect it from the French. I would expect it from some of the Brits and other sheep-like people. But in America, there are people that actually believe unarmed and helpless is a good idea. And we must fight with all of our might, like the NRA does every day, and like I do every day, that unarmed and helpless is a self-inflicted curse. And it's Mayor Bloomberg's dream. It's our gun-running Attorney General's dream. It's Hillary Clinton's dream. They actually see that most innocent lives are lost in gun-free zones, and then they want more of them. Yeah. as a logical guy that's got to show up to my concerts early, as a guy that's got to get in my tree stand with the right wind, as a guy who's got to cater to Mrs. Nugent with all of my heart and soul, as a guy who's got to be a good grandpa and a good dad and a good neighbor and a good board of director on the NRA, I have to live responsibly, accountably, and logical. Can anyone anywhere, not just here in the TED camp, in the NRA camp, I know no one believes in unarmed helplessness. It's a phenomenally disastrous choice. Evidence, unlimited evidence proving that unarmed and helpless is a dangerous, suicidal choice. And we have a president who likes it. We have an attorney general who likes it. We have Hillary Clinton who believes that a gun-free zone will somehow bring benefits to someone other than rapists and carjackers and knockout game enthusiasts and murderers. So I see we've gathered a crowd here. God bless you all.
It's amazing how that happens.
The NRA, I salute each and every one of you. You people are the ultimate fist in the fight for the most important freedom in the world, and that is our duty, written down by our founding fathers, given to each of us by God, to defend ourselves and to keep and bear arms. So that's it in a nutshell. Drive safely. See you next year.
You're not done yet.
You know,
you're not done yet.
It's just so simple. Even the author of Wang Dang Sweet Poon Tang figured it out. So God bless everybody who's involved, and God bless you for being the voice of us, because a lot of people feel disenfranchised and that we're not being heard, but we are being heard.
We are being heard. And, you know, let's talk about what's going on in Texas this year. So you've got the open carry legislation, you've got campus carry legislation that's both advancing. And I've been fascinated by some of the arguments against campus carry, because in Texas, if you're a concealed carry holder, you are already legally allowed to go onto a college campus. You can't go into the building.
Right.
And that's what would change with campus carry. So we have these arguments, Ted, and they're asinine to me, that, well, you can't trust these college students. All these college kids are just drunk. Well, we're not talking about college kids. We're talking about concealed carry holders.
Yep, specially trained and scrutinized and screened American citizens who we will give guns to go fight the enemy in the U.S. military, but we don't trust them at home to defend their lives.
And how does it work that there's been no problem in the state of Texas with concealed carry holders?
Zero.
Off of college campuses? There's been no problem with concealed carry holders walking across a college campus. What is it about going inside the building that will all of a sudden turn these law-abiding, lawful gun owners into drunken madmen?
I'm glad you asked that. Because I was born and raised in Detroit, which was an amazing city until the liberal Democrats turned it into an excuse-mongering, blood-sucking hellhole of depravity and soullessness. Did I adequately describe Detroit? And I love Detroit. I am the Motor City Madman. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. But I was born in Detroit when it was the work ethic epicenter of the world. It was the neighborly love, pride epicenter of the world. Believe me when I tell you that. My dad made sure the Nugent family complied. But what you're talking about is a guy who left Michigan because it became a suburb of Chicago politically. The regulations, the power abuse, the corruption in the Michigan government was just heartbreaking to me. Now, that's not why I escaped, because I'm very active in the legislature. I'm still a Michiganiac. I still fight for our self-evident truth and our logic and our common sense firearms and game laws in every state. But I moved to the greatest, last, best place of Texas under unique circumstances, mostly health-driven. We had to get special treatment after losing our home in Michigan. But because I hunted in Texas every year and I watched the apathy in the great state of Texas that actually tightened their blindfolds and allowed Ann Richards, one of the worst liberal Democrats, Mario Cuomo's nacho date, when we finally kicked her out, I watched Texans allow this stuff to happen where you couldn't even carry a gun in Texas. The law in Texas, basically speaking, was that you could only have a gun in your possession in the glove box, not on your person, but only if you cross 2 county lines. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, what idiot comes up with this stuff? And I would bring that to the current condition. What idiot would just assume and presume anywhere, much less Texas, that the person who has gone through the screening process to get a concealed weapons permit can't be trusted in certain locations, especially with the overwhelming evidence that in every mass shooting, particularly those at Virginia Tech and Columbine and Newton, Connecticut, the reason the devils methodically strolled to each victim. I did an interview recently, minutes ago. I do it all the time, and they go, well, what about the high-capacity magazines and just spraying bullets everywhere and all the carnage? And I go, well, I've studied every FBI report from every school shooting, and the time frame, anybody with their first experience with a single-shot shotgun could have killed just as many people because no one resisted, because no one shot back. Whether you look at Columbine, these clowns are strolling around Luby's cafeteria. The guy's Hennard bends down and discusses life's problems with his victims for minutes on end, and then shoots him. Which brings us to your logical reaction that someone in Texas would assume that the conditions in all these tragic, horrific incidences can somehow now, no evidence, no history, but now they might start with a concealed weapons holder. This is, but I digress, but now I'm going to progress. Greg Abbott.
Yes, sir.
Best governor in America. Paxton, best attorney general in America, if I got his name right. Governor Rick Perry established that we will not settle for anything but the best. We, the people, representation. Your concerns are valid, but look me in the eyes when I tell you, we're fixing them. We're going to get constitutional carry in Texas. I believe Greg Abbott will make that happen. The existence of the words in the Second Amendment are my right to keep and bear arms everywhere, anywhere, anytime I as an individual choose. And we are going to get that in Texas ASAP. The resistance is because the old guard, whether it's the Bubba mentality or the politically correct elected employees who look to the nation as for guidance in these situations instead of the Texans for guidance. We will fix this stuff. So your belief is my belief, and everybody here's belief, that a student at the age of 18 who is not convicted of any felonies or any violent crimes has the right to keep and bear arms everywhere.
You know, it's interesting. The chancellor of Texas A&M University System wrote an open letter to the Texas Senate, said that the college system was going to remain neutral, wasn't taking a position, but he personally said, you know, the question to me is this. I trust my students, the faculty and staff, do I trust them to be as responsible on campus as they are off campus? And he said, of course I do. So personally, you know, he said, I don't have a problem with this. This is common sense. This is logic.
I'm surprised that he voiced that.
You haven't heard much about it, have you? It's weird how the head of the Texas A&M University system can say that, yeah, I don't have a problem with campus carry, and yet hardly anybody knows about it.
Yep.
It's almost like the media wasn't really interested in covering that.
It's almost like the media are liars. It's not almost like the media. We have the big greasome threesome of America hate. Media, academia, and government. Now, only the guilty need to feel guilty because you and I are media, and we ain't guilty. Rush Limbaugh is the media. Sean Hannity is the media. We have many friends, pro-gun fans. I could sit here for an hour listing them. But the big boys are so biased, so dishonest, such liars, they literally are scared to death of anything ballistic, which is why they run from my music. So this is more important now than ever, that the three big grease balls of hate, media, academia, and government, they're infested with it. Now, there's a bunch in all categories that are not lying grease balls. I'm sure the Huffington Post won't get that part. But my point is that we, the people, have made huge progress.
We have.
We've made huge inroads against the insanity of gun-free zones. So I am confident that as we set records again in Nashville. Remember when Nashville was the music city? I prefer it as the gun city. And with Uncle Ted here, it's the music city and the gun city. You think I might feel at home here. So I have faith that NRA members for many, many years, for the most part, again, I won't paint everything with a single stroke of a brush, but everyone's smart enough to know the difference between friends and enemies, regardless of their affiliations. But I've never seen anything more gratifying in my 66 years clean and sober than NRA members not just settling for NRA membership, but becoming hell raisers and putting the pressure on any idiot that's going to ban our primary ammo for the primary firearm in America, that will expose the fact that there's no such thing as a Saturday night special. There's no such thing as a cop killer bullet. There's no such thing as an assault weapon. We the people are absolutely kicking ass like never before. So all I can say to everybody out there listening, and the wonderful crowd we've gathered here, is turn up the heat. It's impossible to do too much we the people activism. You need to communicate with your elected employees and actually call them that. Hey, it's good to talk to you, Senator. I value my time with my elected employees. Now, let's get down to it. Why isn't Hillary in jail? Why isn't Lois Lerner in jail? Why isn't Eric Gun-Running Holder in jail? Why isn't President Obama in jail? Because he's the top dog who knows that Lois Lerner was lying. He knows that Susan Rice. He told Susan Rice to lie. It's so out of control. It is so corrupt and so criminal. It's not just power abuse. It's criminality running amok in our government right now. And I have a feeling that as we punch back attempts at ammunition bans and the lie of universal registration, as we continue to increase our activism, I believe that we're going to fix this government in 2016. I pray to God we will. If Hillary Clinton becomes the President of the United States of America, it's because we deserve it, because you didn't raise enough hell. Nothing happens without we the people making the decision. Either we fight back and fix, or we bend over and take it. So I'm covering a lot of bases here because there's a lot to cover, but the Texas situation is indicative and a manifestation of what every state has to deal with. I was just in Arizona. It's damn good, but it ain't perfect. I'm a Texas resident. It's damn good, but it ain't perfect. Michigan's getting better. Scott Walker's done yeoman's work in Wisconsin. We see a lot of upgrade. But there's not one city, not one state in this nation that doesn't need dramatic upgrade in regulation reform, certainly regarding firearms and hunting. I could sit here for 100 hours and only cover one state with the insanity that exists. So God bless everybody that's involved and that calls your elected employees and puts pressure on them. But those that don't, start, and those that do it more.
Ted Nugent, it's always a pleasure, sir.
All right, man. Godspeed.
Thank you so much.
And I'll see all these wonderful people. We're doing a presentation right around the corner. And thank you all for your votes on the board of directors. I do everything I can to represent your spirit accurately and absolutely. So God bless the NRA.
God bless you, Ted. We'll talk soon. Ted Nugent join us right here on a special Sunday edition of NRA News Cam and Company, sponsored by Nosler, live at the 2015 NRA annual meetings.